2. I hate this class, Haley whispered, not looking at me as we walked into health, third weekend. You ain't alone, I whispered back, staring at the weird scene on the floor. Everyone hated health. They forced you to talk in class about the things you were discovering on your own, in private. The first week, we blew through the safe units on nutrition and hygiene, like flossing, the dangers of smoking and gun disease. Stress in the body unit took up the second week. Textbook pictures weren't real stomachs under stress, but instead drawings of pale pink organs bunched like paired socks your mom brought home from the laundry. Folks, I'd like you to meet Recessu Annie, Mr. Corker said, hovering above this mysterious figure collapsed near his desk. He grinned, loving the small chaos he'd thrown us into, eyeing Haley for any bad reaction. Were we supposed to go to our seats, introduce ourselves? Were we supposed to gather around Annie like he was trying to hurt us? We knew that the splayed woman wasn't real. Her vinyl skin and scraggly, straw-colored doll hair made her look like a special rough life, anti-glamour edition of the gigantic Barbie head Haley had mentioned. This Annie at least had a body, but she seemed boneless or something. Her sneakered feet lay at weird angles, flat against the classroom floor. She's not breathing, Mr. Corker said, trying to sell us on the idea that she was alive. The room filled with silence as we stared at the lifeless jogger. Okay, he said with a loud, awkward clap. Recessu Annie is a simulator to help us learn how to properly administer CPR. He paused and then elongated the next 3 words. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Now, she is not a toy, he added, as if we'd suddenly tried to play with her. She's a lifesaver. That don't mean you can suck on her, Hubie, said Marco, one of the jerks in my class, his friends laughing. I wondered if Carson Mastic had told the white kids that I'd failed kindergarten, or if they just overheard him calling me Hubie Doobie the flunked-out booby. Hey, guys, Mr. Corker jumped in. These are exactly the shenanigans I warned about. Health is no joke. Laughers clapped hands around their grins like TV chimps. I wondered if Mr. Corker himself had a stomach under stress. This class used to do CPR towards the end of the year, but for us it was going to be week 3. Maybe the ghost of Haley's mom and her heart attack haunted Mr. Corker. He'd been Haley's teacher last year, and here she was again. I didn't ask if she'd failed CPR or if they just hadn't gotten to it in time. He seemed super aware of Haley when we walked in to find Annie, a waxy, blonde, dead, loose-limbed jogger in a heap on our floor. Haley looked down, matching Annie's blank stare. If you see someone in distress, you may be the only person around who knows what to do. Like Annie, you too could save lives. Think about it. He then performed the proper method, step by step. We had to ask Annie if she was all right, touch her neck to try to find a pulse. We were then supposed to lean over, place an ear to her mouth, and pretend that she might answer and breathe when she knew she wasn't going to cooperate. Mr. Corker tilted Annie's head back, pinched her nose, took a deep breath, and then locked lips with her, repeating the sequence a few times. Looks like she's going to hurl, said Tom, one of Marco's grinning chimps, when her body heaved, filled with Mr. Corker's forced breath. That what happens when you try to kiss a girl, Doobie? Marco said to me, not bothering to cover his grin. Now that some guys had gotten growth spurts, they tested their manhood by poking the big Indian kid. They acted like they were running with the bulls, like we'd seen men do in the social studies unit on Spain, except in this case, I was the bull. Marco, Mr. Corker shouted, running an alcohol wipe along Annie's lips onto her slightly exposed teeth. Here, on the mouth. Tom, chest compressions. I don't know what that is, Tom said. You're gonna learn firsthand right now, Mr. Corker said, since you can't seem to pay attention otherwise. What if I don't wanna? Attention and an F for this unit, your choice. Tom and Marco grumbled, bumbling to the floor. Mr. Corker talked them through the CPR basics, checking and clearing Annie's airways, sealing her lips, and pinching her nostrils closed, and then breathing into her mouth. You need to find, he said, pausing, getting ready to speak a word he couldn't avoid, her breastbone. To commence with the proper chest compression. Regularly check her neck artery for a pulse. Mr. Corker squeezed a bulb that sent air down a tube into Annie, giving her some artery action. He waited until Tom broke a sweat pushing up and down on Annie's chest, elbows locked, before he squeezed Andy's pulse bulb. Mr. Corker then alcohol wiped her mouth and had Marco and Tom change places, working them hard again. All right, who's next? Mr. Corker said as the jerk stood. Jackie, Marco said, standing. How about you let me find your breastbone to practice proper chest compression? Get your pulse going? Jackie slapped his chest, laughed, and stepped forward, volunteering. I'll do it, she said, kneeling easily, leaning her face into Annie's, taking her duties seriously. She looked amazing without even trying. She could be flirty, kind, and sensitive, take her grades seriously, and be dressed perfectly, all at the same time. Other girls, Haley included, could juggle maybe two of those things, but even there it was touch and go. Jackie floated on a cloud of her own natural amazingness. I'll do the compressions, I said, kneeling next to her, still feeling like a Spanish bull this close. If I made one wrong gesture, I might send tiny Jackie flying across the room. Mr. Corker ignored the whispering chimps around us. Forget them, Jackie said, touching my arm, her skin slightly warmer than mine. We've got a life to save. I tried taking her advice, but even compressing, I heard Tom say that I was just trying to get Jackie's white girl spit in my mouth the only way it would happen. I compressed so hard I felt like I might bust the spring and rescue Annie's chest. Marco said I wanted to see how wide Annie's mouth opened. I speculated that my locked elbows were clogged with embedded dirt. My skin was just naturally darker there, and a few other places. When I was 7, I tried to scrub the color off my elbows so hard that they'd blister and bled. As I compressed Annie's chest in silence, one fist over the other, my ears burned deeper red. Oh, I forgot, Mr. Corker said when we stopped Recessu. Annie's lips were the same frosted red that Jackie's had. He dug into his desk for a Kleenex and a jar of Noxzema. Girls, and some of you guys maybe, I don't know, please wipe off any makeup before your turn. We don't want it staining Annie's skin. We want her to be normal colored for the people who come after you. Normal. Haley and I locked eyes. Stop here. I want you to summarize part 2 on your sheets now.